Graduation day at 201 Poplar. Besides the 8 SWAT-looking officers in the back, it's just like any other high school graduation. The men wear caps and gowns. They walk down the aisle to pomp and circumstance while their family and friends dab tears from their eyes. The valedictorian and salutatorian, they each give a speech on the usual theme, how they got there and where they're going. For these questions, the men take full responsibility for the bad decisions and the bad situations they put themselves in and promise to do better. But it'd be unfair for us not to also consider our role in the answers to these questions. It's hard to understand the severity of mass incarceration until you walk into 201. And the deeply upsetting fact is that we did it. We as a society, we built this prison industrial complex on the deep-seated assumption that people of color are criminal. And we continue it through our inaction. And I wish I could stand here and tell you that I'm an exception. I wish I wasn't suspicious when I see a man of color looking through a car window. I wish I didn't get defensive whenever my perspectives were called problematic. I wish I wasn't just another person posting on Facebook about social justice, but being too busy to do anything about it or pretending not to be a part of the problem. And I wish so badly that I didn't subconsciously shrug off tragedies and injustices because they don't affect me directly as a white male. I really do. Because these are the mindsets that continue the myth of black criminality in this age of mass incarceration. When we stop denying our racially biased thoughts, we can finally accept that there's a problem, and we can hold ourselves truly accountable. No more empty Facebook posts. No more going to a single protest and thinking that our job is done. We built this, and we can also take this apart. I teach math on the 4th floor of 201 Poplar with the most violent offenders in Memphis. My students include murderers, robbers, carjackers, 5 Deuce Hoover Crips, Memphis Mob, 274 GD, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that they are the most respectful, appreciative, and hilarious students that you could ever ask for. 99 out of 100 of them sincerely just want to get out of jail and stay out. But if we want them to not go back to their previous life, then we have to do something about it. The people in these facilities, they don't need saving. They simply, just like every other person in this world, deserve an opportunity to succeed. But unfortunately, the Memphis government can't afford the massive resources and time commitment it takes to break down the deep, concrete foundations of mass incarceration. So we as a community have to come together and give our time and resources in whatever way we can. When I started volunteering at 201, I didn't know anything about the GED. I was just some random guy with a master's degree in pure math, and you might think that helped, but I promise that computing gamma-Euler-Satake characteristics on 3-dimensional orbifolds translates to teaching multiplication about as well as writing poetry does. My point is that you don't have to know what you're doing, but we all have something to contribute, whether it's a chess club or organizing a choir, or just a positive friendship in an extremely negative place. But I'm also not gonna stand up here and pretend that teaching at 201 or at Jail East with the women is just full of rainbows. It seems like every day someone you really care about gets sentenced to life in prison, or someone gets found innocent after waiting on a trial for 6 years. Someone you really thought was innocent, but gets found guilty of like a horrific crime. 2 of your favorite students get in a fight on some Crips and Bloods bullshit, and the next day, your first white student walks through the door and shakes your hand in front of the entire class when you realize the Grand Wizard holding a noose tattooed on his arm. And you also, on top of these tragedies, have to understand their everyday reality. Court dates set off for a month for a missing piece of paper, or 6 months because of a lack of preparation, over and over and over again. Not seeing your family and friends in person, instead receiving love and support through a computer screen like Skype with a payphone attached. Overpriced phone calls and commissary limited to honey buns and ramen. Never leaving the floor except to go to court. Never going outside except a few times a year. 95% of your time locked down in a cell or on the pod watching TV. But on graduation day, none of that matters. They sit down after getting their diploma, and for the first time since knowing them, you can see freedom in their eyes. None of them are even paying attention anymore, a look that I'm extremely familiar with. Instead, they're sitting there staring off, soaking in their moment. You can tell how proud of themselves they are. You can see them imagining college and a new job and a new life far, far away from where they are right now. You can see them imagining hugging and kissing and holding their loved ones for the first time in years. But most of all, you can see them hoping with everything that they have that they never, ever come back to this terrible place. Thank you.
I want to break free.